Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
I'd like to call the meeting to order and acknowledge that we're in Treaty 1 territory, the home and traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, Innu, Cree, and Dakota peoples, and in the national homeland of the Red River Métis. Our drinking water comes from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation in Treaty 3 territory. My name is Lynn Nesbitt, and I'm chairing today's panel. Joining me on the panel are Tracy Anderson and Richard Whitbread. Our administrative personnel is Mrs. Crystal Harland, and our assessor is Karine de Rocquigny. To the Zoom participants of the hearing, please note you are placed in the waiting room until your property is called upon. When it is your turn, you will be admitted into the meeting. Kindly follow along on the City of Winnipeg's Board of Revision YouTube channel for the hearing process. Once the host admits you into the hearing, please close or mute your YouTube player. You will then be permitted to speak with respect to your property. Once your hearing has concluded, you can leave the meeting. We'll be hearing applications for revision of the assessment roll in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we will limit discussion to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council and is independent of it and the City Administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the Board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to the Court of King's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the Board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I'll confirm the points of appeal with your property to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony, followed by questions that the applicant may have, and then the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all of the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all the applications have been heard, and the Board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You will receive the Board's decision by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. We will hear items 1 and 5 on our docket today. Mrs. Harland, please affirm the assessor's and applicant's testimony.
Yes, Madam Chair. Madam Assessor, would you please state your full name?
Thank you. Karine de Rocquigny.
Thank you. Do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Mr. Newman, would you please state your full name?
Mark Newman.
Thank you. Do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please be seated.
Thank you, and good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Before we begin, Mr. Newman, I just want to confirm that this is an appeal of the assessed value of the property.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Mr. Rocquigny, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is for file number 25-152, roll number 070924306000 for the address of 2040 Logan Avenue. We have the assessed value at $1,031,000. However, we do have a recommendation for the 2026 roll year based on the reference date of April 1, 2023. This is in regards to an opportunity of having the property being inspected recently and noticing that there's been a decrease in the mezz area. So I do have a new income workup to provide. With that being said, the decrease of the mezz area, that's changing the leasable area from 6,912, from 7,408 square feet to now 6,912 square feet. So that changes things there. And then we also feel changing the rent slightly to $7.24. So that's our recommendation.
Okay. Can you please carry forward then? And I guess we'll need from you a final number, what your capital new NOI is. I'm assuming you're keeping with the same cap rate.
Correct.
Okay, so can you give me a final value then, or NOI and cap rate?
Of course, of course. So there's the two premises, the 5,808 with the $7.11 rent, the 1104 square feet for $7.95 for the rent. This provides the blended rent of $7.24 with the potential rent of $50,072. We reduce that by a vacancy loss of 3.5%, plus expenses at 3%, the shortfall at $4 per square foot, the net operating income of $45,902. We've capitalized that at the 4.85%, in which generates the capitalized value of $946,000.
Okay, I didn't get it all when you were
Oh.
talking about the
Sorry.
new rents, but your new blended rent then as a result of the changes is $7.24.
Correct.
And that's based on 6,912 square feet, which is a reduction.
Correct.
Your new NOI is 45,902, and your cap rate is $4.85. So the only, or $4.85% for a new assessed value of $946,000. So the only items you've changed here then are the square footage and the rent on two premises, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. And all other parameters remain the same.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Newman, do you accept that recommendation?
I accept the adjustment to the square footage. I do not accept the capitalization rate. I accept everything else.
So up to the NOI you are accepting.
That's correct.
Okay. All right, then Ms. Duroquigny, can you carry forward with your presentation, and we'll have a specific focus on the capitalization rate, please.
Of course. This property consists of two buildings with two premises, one story. The actual year built is 1976 to 1985, but we do have an effective year built of 1978. It has wall heights of 15 and 16 feet. So the leasable area is 6,912 square feet with the land to plan area of 3.63. On page 2, we've provided a map showing its location. It is just off of King Edward Street. Aerial views are provided on page 3 and 4. Exterior photos, page 5 to 11. Thus including some inspection photos that were recently taken. Page 11 is one of the premises, the Perfect One Driving School, with the indoor photos up until page 16. And page 17 to 33 are photos of the second premise. On page 34, I'll bring your attention to our rent comparables. They are actual net rents, and there's a range of a lease start date of 2018 to 2021, a range of lease area of 2,760 to 12,000 square feet, an average wall height of 12 feet to 22 feet, a range of effective year built 1973 to 1980, and a net rent of $6.25 to $12 per square foot. Which brings us to our capitalization rates on page 37. Which provide the industrial range being 5.35 at the 20th percentile and 7.30 at the 80th percentile. Our 4.85 is under the 20th percentile, but we do feel that with this type and size and year built, it is fair. We do have the income and expense questionnaire provided on page 39 to 41. This is what we've received, showing that it's partially owner occupied. On page 41, stating the gross rents. Page 42, we included a permit in which includes the interior alterations in 2019 with the declared construction value of $30,000. And based on this evidence, we believe that the assessed value of $946,000 to be fair and equitable, and ask for it to be confirmed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Newman, questions?
Yes. So if we look at your page 3, those are 2 overhead views of the site and the premises, correct?
Correct.
Then if we look at page 8, you've told us that there are different wall heights. There's a building with 15 feet, there's a building with 16-foot wall heights, and we can see in the lower photo on page 8 that there's different elevations for the roof line, correct?
Correct.
These are 2 separate roof systems on these 2 buildings, correct?
It appears that way, yes.
Okay. Then if we look at page 10, that's the yard of the building. The yard is not paved, correct?
It looks that way, yes.
Okay. So if we then jump ahead to page 19 and many of the following pages, this is an industrial use in the majority of this property, correct?
Yes.
And you can see on page 19, for example, various pieces of equipment and items that are being worked on. If we jump to page 21, in the upper photo, that's the mezzanine area, correct?
So myself was not there for the inspection, but I'll take your word for it.
Okay, so I was there for the inspection, and do you agree with me that what happened here is that a permit was taken out in 2007 to alter the size of the mezzanine, reducing the square footage? Do you agree that's what happened?
Yes, that's my understanding
Okay.
after the inspection.
And so what we see in the upper photo in page 21, I'll suggest to you, is a portion of the mezzanine. And then if we look at page 22, again in the upper photo, we can see a portion of the mezzanine. And then if we jump ahead to page 27, upper photo, stairs up to the mezzanine, lower photo, the framing for the mezzanine. And again, I appreciate you weren't there, So this is me saying to you what these photos reveal. All right, so let's then jump ahead. And let me just clarify something. So you've said, and actually I'll get to that page to make it simpler for everyone. If you go to your page 35, and I appreciate that's the prior workup, there are two premises shown there, and there are the rents that were applicable to those premises at the time. What you've told us this morning is you've done 5,808 square feet at $7.11 and 1,104 square feet at $7.95. Where are the mezzanine premises? In which premises is the mezzanine area to be found?
I believe it's the second premise.
The 1,600
Correct.
or
Yeah,
the 1,104 as revised?
you got it. Yeah.
Okay, I'll suggest to you that's not accurate, but I'll come back to that and explain it further. Let's jump ahead to your cap rate. I think essentially what you said to the panel is, considering the year built and the size, 4.85% is fair. So let me ask a couple of questions about the capitalization rate. Do you agree that it's a reflection of the required rate of return, taking into account the risk of the property?
Yes.
Okay. And this property has an effective age of 1978, you told us. We can see a lot of photos. Do you consider this to be a first-class property?
It's not a first class property, but it's
No,
not
it's
your
not.
risk.
No. And in fact, I'll suggest to you that in the spectrum of industrial properties, this property would not be considered a trophy or a signature property. Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So when we then look at your capitalization rate data, for industrial properties, we see that the 20th and 80th percentiles range from 5.35 to 7.3. We see that the A-class industrial range from 5.75, 5.5, 5.25, depending on the brokers. The multi-tenant B range from 6 to 6.5 to 6, all at the low end, again, depending on the brokers. And then there's what's called industrial B, again, at the low end, ranging from 6 to 6.5 to 6%. So the 4.85% is below the 20th percentile. It's below the low end of all the brokers' reports for industrial B properties. Do you agree that 4.85% therefore is not reasonable for this property?
I wouldn't agree with that statement because it's still not under risk.
It's not, sorry, say again?
I don't believe that it's under risk. I still think that it's still a great property, currently being occupied for many years. So there's no risk from what I've seen.
I see. What about the return that's going to be available on a property of this type? What about the possibility of appreciation? Do you see this property being high in terms of return or possibility of appreciation?
I mean, it's hard to say. It's hard to say, but I mean, it's not, I still believe it to be a good property.
Okay. The mezzanine space, which I think the end result is that it's approximately 512 square feet. There's no differential rate applied for the mezzanine space. Is the risk of mezzanine space the same as the risk for space that is on the single level at grade?
What do you mean exactly?
I mean, is it riskier to have a portion of your property in mezzanine space as opposed to at grade?
It'd be the same.
It'd be the same. Okay. Can the mezzanine space be used in the same way as the balance of the space? Can you put the industrial activities up on the mezzanine space?
It's a fair comment.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Those are my questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Newman. Ms. Anderson, questions? You are muted.
I just asked.
Sorry,
Person to unmute.
forgive me, but my internet was unstable at that time. What were you asking me?
Do you have any questions for the assessor?
I do. I just have a couple. Can you tell me which section is owner occupied?
Let's see.
Is it the larger or the smaller section? Buildings.
Well, there's two different, the claim partial owner occupied. There's the perfect one driving school. I believe the owner occupied is the warehouse aspect.
Okay. Actually, I think that's it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Whitbread?
I'm just a little bit confused. I look at the building, I'm looking at your top view of the building.
Which page, Mr. Whitbread?
I'm just gonna find the best page. Now let's look at page 2. Let's look at page 3. I think it's your page 3. I'm gonna reduce this, sorry. Page 4. So if we look at the top photo, the 2040 is for the whole property, but where it resides is kind of the newer or older part. I don't know which is newer and which is older. Is that the driving school? That dark gray space?
That'd be a good question for Mr. Newman, unfortunately.
Well,
Because
can we ask Mr. Newman to jump in? He was in the inspection.
that'd be great.
The answer is no. A portion of the darker space where the numbers 2040 appear
Mhm.
is the driving school. It's the front portion closest to Logan.
Yeah.
And a portion of that is also the industrial related occupation. But that's the answer.
Okay, so no one's given us a breakdown of office versus manufacturing, and I know they're separate businesses, but the premise is occupied by, it looks like 2 or 3 businesses. Can you answer that, Madam Assessor?
Of that darker part of the building?
Well, no, just the building itself. It's
Which is
occupied by 2 or 3 premises.
I believe it's 2. It's 2.
2, and you're calling them light manufacturing. That's the category it's got.
Correct. Yeah.
But
And
definitely that driving school is not a manufacturing facility. Would you say? Would you agree with that?
well, it's classified under storage warehouse, I believe. Okay, sure.
Even though it's offices and bathroom and training room, you're calling that a storage warehouse, are you?
Yeah, because technically they could take everything out and it could still be used as a storage warehouse.
I see. So if they gutted that portion, it's got the capability to be that.
Correct.
I hear you. Okay. And the light manufacturing, we're sure about that. As I look at some of the equipment in that building, and maybe Mr. Newman can jump in. I don't mind if he does. Light manufacturing, this seems heavier than light manufacturing, Mr. Newman. Can you comment? You were there.
I agree. This is heavy hydraulic equipment and drive shafts and crankshafts that they are tending to in this property. And yes, it's quite heavy. Some of the equipment, there's presses, there's that type of equipment in the photos.
Okay. So for our purposes of looking at this property, would you say it would be relatively easy to remove all of the equipment related to the industrial? Or is it lodged in there and it's what it is? It's going to be that.
Well, I mean, for the majority, it could be displaced. I mean, there's going to be some things left for sure and still could be used as storage warehouse, but it does look like they've pretty much made their stay there.
But you haven't been in the building to look at.
I have not. My coworker went to take the photos. Yeah.
Okay. I'm probably just going to come back to you, Mr. Newman, when
Well,
it's your turn.
maybe Mr. Newman can expound on it in his presentation a little bit more.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I'll come back then. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
No, I'll leave it there. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Rokeny, I'm also following up on a question that Mr. Newman had. You said that the cap rate is fair given its type, size, and year built. So what is it about the type, size, and year built that puts this at the lower end of the cap rate range? There must be something specific to bring it into that low end. So I'm just trying to follow up on that.
Well, I mean, the model put it there, right? So I think it's a variety. I think it's that it's a variety of things that put it that low. That with all the other properties, them being, an older build, larger space.
Is this considered a large space for this type of property?
No, this one would be considered a lower square footage.
So does that make it more appealing or less appealing?
I think it's more appealing. I think it's easier to rent out the space than a larger space.
Okay, and what about you touched on the year built, it's almost 50? Trying to do my math fast. Almost 50-year-old building, does that make a difference?
In the way that it could be older, and it's still it's in good quality is what I've heard from my coworker. Like
Okay.
the inside is still of good condition.
Okay. And is the wall height conducive to an industrial use? Is it small given its low given its age? Is it just right? I'm not really sure.
Yeah, they are about average. They are lower than the traditional industrial space, but with the type with the storage warehouse, it is average, I would say.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Mr. Newman, your presentation, please.
Yes, thank you. So as the assessor has noted, the adjustment in value arose because when the appeal was filed, I reached out to the assessor saying, I think there's a problem with the square footage here. And in fact, if you look at page 2 of my brief, you can see the permit taken out in September of 2007 reflects the intention to remove a portion of the existing mezzanine. And so the reality is this property has had an incorrect square footage since the fall of 2007, when the permit was closed after that work was complete. Now, having reached out to the assessor, an inspection was called for, the inspection occurred. As you've heard, I was there. I've referenced in my brief the fact that I think there might be a school tax exemption for the vocational school. I'm not pursuing that here this morning, and I think that may have been the point of your question to me earlier, Ms. Nesbitt, but I take your point and I'll address that with the assessor in due course. So everything is accepted except the capitalization rate. The other observation I would make, now that the assessor is aware that the square footage is incorrect, and I've actually communicated with the assessor this morning about this, I think they may have to make an adjustment to the 2025 value as well. Not asking you to do that, but I'm just making that observation to the assessor. So let's talk about the capitalization rate. Again, it's a reflection of the risk associated with the investment, the expectations for appreciation, required returns available in other investment vehicles, and I'm on page 4 now. At April 1 of 2023, interest rates have spiked up. You can see at the bottom of my page 5, the ladder of and steps of interest rates moving up to near 6%. Mortgage rates, 5 and 10-year mortgage rates in that time frame. If you look at page 7 of my brief, and this is sourced from CBRE, Q1 2023 Canadian cap rates, you can see, and they make a distinction between industrial A and industrial B, and you can see that Q1 of 23 industrial rates have spiked up to 6%. And of course, that's a generality. There's going to be variability. There's going to be a range depending on the quality of the property, its attributes, and those types of variables. So we know that cap rates have come up by the time we come to April 1 of 23. At page 8 of my brief, I begin to discuss categorization of buildings. How do you place a building in the spectrum of industrial buildings? You look at ceiling clearance or clear height. New buildings that can be at 28 feet. This is not a storage warehouse, so that type of height may be less important. Loading docks can be important. A land to building ratio can be important. Location can be important. Fire suppression systems, column-free bays, all of that leads to how brokers categorize buildings. And you can see I've given you the broker definitions, Colliers, CBRE, and Cushman, for how they make a distinction between A buildings and B buildings. And generally speaking, A buildings are newer, they're fully featured, they're competing for higher quality tenants, they're higher quality suburban product, and they attract good covenant tenants. This property does not have any of those attributes. It's not going to attract good quality tenants. It's going to attract lesser quality tenants. Lesser quality tenants means a lesser covenant. A lesser covenant means a higher risk. You're not getting a Government of Canada or Province of Manitoba covenant with the type of tenants who go into this kind of building. So at best, I would say to you, this is a B building. It is not an A building. I then give you the City of Winnipeg chart, which we've touched upon already. If you look at my page 11, you can see that the city's 20th and 80th percentiles are 5.35 to 7.3. There is no 4.85% there. In the lower half of page 11, I reference a study that Altus conducted on industrial sales, and there's 5 properties which they analyzed and published capitalization rates in respect of. And you can see the lowest of those is 6.27. The highest of those is 8.64. And then at the top of page 12, they express their conclusions that at April 1 of 23, a B building will be in the range of 6.5 to 7.5%. Non-investment grade properties at April 1 of 23 will be 7.5% or higher. Additional risk factors will include wall height, older industrial areas, things like that. So ultimately, for me, this is about where do you put this building in the spectrum of buildings. This is essentially two buildings, one built in 78, one built a little bit more recently in 1985. They have different wall heights. You can see that from the different roof elevations. Effective age is 1978. It's now 47 years old. The yard is not paved. It's gravelish. I just simply say this type of building does not bring with it the lowest level of risk, which should therefore attract the lowest cap rate. The A buildings are not attracting a cap rate at the level the city is using. They will be better quality buildings. The low end, say the brokers for A buildings are 5.75, 5.5, 5.25. This is not A, this is B at best, and it's low B at best, I would say. And so I ultimately selected 6.25% as the capitalization rate, essentially conservatively and reasonably taking the midpoint between the 20th and 80th percentiles. That would suggest the building is midway between an A and a B. I don't think it is midway between an A and a B. I think it's a lower quality building than that. And then I've got some additional photos. I do mention that, in a lot of ways, this building is no different than a lot of buildings, warehouse type buildings, in the sense that they'll have a portion that is finished office and they'll have a portion that is the warehouse or the light manufacturing or the heavy manufacturing. There's actually in the assessor's brief, because I think somebody was asking, what is the square footage? But if you look at page 47, for example, of the assessor's brief, and you'll have to blow it up to make it readable on your screen, I think the perfect driving school is 1,304 square feet. That's what seems to be reflected in the area computation that appears in the lower right-hand corner on page 47. The other observation I would make, and a question was asked of the assessor about getting out the equipment and everything that's there, can it easily be removed? The answer is with the appropriate equipment. There are lathes, there are presses, there is heavy industrial equipment present. Yes, you can get it out. You either disassemble it or you bring in a crane or a crane on a truck if you can get it in, and you lift it onto a flatbed and you can take it out of there in that fashion. It's not the simplest process, but it is ultimately doable. And nothing has really been addressed much in this regard, but you've got 512 square feet that are mezzanine space, poor quality mezzanine space, I would say. And to me, when you've got 7 or 8 or 9% of your square footage that is in a mezzanine of this type, that's lesser quality space. It should be attracting a lesser rent. That's not happening here. And that arguably should be done as well. So at the end of the day, my ask of you is to take the assessor's net operating income and apply a 6.25% capitalization rate, and that results in a value of $735,000. That's found on page 22. I actually used a rate of $7.25 a square foot. The assessor indicates blended is $7.24. We're very much the same, but again, the key issue is the capitalization rate, and that's what you'll have to deal with. Those are my submissions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Newman. Mr. Rokigny, questions?
Perhaps just one. Thank you for all that, Mr. Newman. In regards to the type of property, you had made a comment about it attracting lower tenants. With the way that I see it being currently being occupied, why would you suggest that it would attract lower tenants?
So the driving school, they come and go. The covenant is not strong on a tenant of that type. A portion is owner occupied, and ultimately the success of that tenant is a function of the success of the business. If the business doesn't work, then the tenant isn't going to work. Again, my point is simply, it's not a government tenant, it's not a city tenant, it's not a national or international tenant. These are small local businesses which always bring with them a higher level of risk.
Those are my questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Whitbread, questions?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Anderson?
Just had a question about the mezzanine. What is it being used for? Is that the training space or?
No, the mezzanine is a change room. There's lockers up there. And it is a lunchroom as well. There are in fact photos of this, and I'll just tell you the page in the assessor's brief where they can be found. 28 and 29 show those areas.
Okay, thank you very much. That's it, Madam Chair. Thank you.
I don't have any questions either, Mr. Newman. Mr. Rokingny, would you like to do a summary statement?
I'm good. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Newman.
I think you've heard quite enough from me. Thank you.
Okay, then thank you very much. That will
Nice seeing you all.
Nice to see you. That will conclude item number 1 on our agenda.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Newman.
Good day, all.
Good day.
Mrs. Harland, have we heard from the applicant on item number 5?
We have not. May we take a 10-minute break or thereabouts?
Sure.
Chair?
Yes. Okay, let's do that. And let's take, how about we resume at 10 o'clock? Does that work for everyone? It's a little bit more than 10 minutes, but it's a nice even number.
Sure. Madam Chair, could you please stick around after I
Yes, for sure.
put this down? Just a moment.
Thank you. Thank you. I'd like to call our meeting back to order. We're moving through our agenda. We're now on item 5. This is 889 Wall Street. Mrs. Harlan, do we have an applicant present?
We do not, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Then the panel will go in camera and determine if we will hear this matter without the applicant being present. So Mrs. Harland, if you could put us in camera, and Ms. Durokny, if you could just, back in the waiting room for another few minutes. Thank you. Thank you. The panel has discussed whether or not we will hear item 5 in the absence of the applicant. We have decided we will hear this matter. So Ms. Durokny, if you could take us through item 5, please. You've also requested a burden of proof be shifted for non-compliance. We would like you to speak to that issue as well, plus your presentation on the assessed value, please. Thank you. And you are muted, just so you know. Okay, so you can go ahead on item 5. Oh, you are muted. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. I had to request it. Okay, thank you. File number 25-186, roll number 13011913500 for the address of 889 Wall Street. We are defending the assessed value of $843,000 for the 2026 roll year based on the reference date of April 1, 2023. We would like to seek for non-compliance. Page 2, shows that the last income and expense questionnaire we received was back in 2017. Page 3 shows the income and expense document being mailed out. That's the tracking number that was used. At the top, the document was dated June 9th, 2023. On page 4, shows the signature with that tracking number. So it was signed at the below there. Page 5 is the actual income and expense questionnaire that was mailed out. That's the page 5 through 9 with that tracking number. And page 10 through 14 is another income and expense questionnaire that was mailed out, dated April 13, 2023. And that's in regards to the non-compliance. Shall I continue with the property details?
First of all, I'll just stop you there. Panel, does anybody have any questions on the non-compliance piece?
I don't.
I do not. Thank you, Madam Chair.
I do have one, Ms. Assessor, and that is that the request for income and expense statement was sent to 928 Palmerston, whereas this is, the property is at 889 Wall. Is 928 Palmerston the address for service for this property
I'll double check.
at LTO?
Yeah, I believe I had looked at it. I'm just pulling it up right now. It is the address on file since the property owner took possession in 2013.
Okay. And you have sporadically been getting like at that address? You
Yeah,
did get some post 2013 you have received?
we did. Yeah, we
I'm
did
just-
receive the 2017.
You received it?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm just looking at our system. Nothing has come back to us either. So that's the address that they requested to be on file, and no document of any type has been returned to us
And
either.
that's the address also for the tax bill?
Correct.
Okay. And no tax arrears?
Um,
Like, are taxes being paid?
they're being paid through the tip system.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. All right.
You're welcome.
You can continue with value.
Of course. This property consists of 3 buildings, 2 premises, 1 story. The actual year built of 1954 to 1981, with the effective year built of 1958. It has 3 wall heights. One premise has 11 feet, the second premise 12 feet, and the third premise 13 feet. With a leasable area of 7270 square feet and a land to plan area of 1.86. I'll turn your attention to page 15 is a map we've provided showing its location, located off of Ellis Avenue or St. Matthews Avenue. Aerial views are provided on page 16 through 18. And exterior photos on page 19 and 20. We have provided many rent comparables. They are all flex warehouses like the subject, with a lease range of 2017 to 2022, or sorry, lease start to date, a leased area of 1,100 to 6,250 square feet, average wall height of 10 feet to 20 feet, a effective year built of 1955 to 1973, and a net rent of $6.75 to $15 per square foot. On page 22 is our income workup, with the 2 premises totaling 7270 square feet, has a blended rent of $9.32. Giving a potential rent of $67,782. We have reduced that by a vacancy loss of 4%, plus expenses at 3%, with the shortfall at $4 per square foot, gives us the net operating income of 61,956. We have capitalized that at 7.35%, in which generates our capitalized value of 842,939, rounded up to our final value of $843,000. On page 24, you'll find our capitalization rates showing the industrial range of 5.35 to 7.30. Our 7.35 is above the 80th percentile. Based on this evidence, we believe that the assessed value of $843,000 to be fair and equitable, and ask for it to be confirmed. Thank you. Are there any
Thank you.
questions?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Mr. Whitbread, do you have questions for the assessor?
Yeah, just a little bit of clarification. I'm going to take you to page 19. Well, first, let us go to page 18 on your docs. Tell me when you're there.
I'm there.
You see that rooftop photo?
Mhm.
We have an 889 and an 891. Now, it looks like it's all in one lot. Are we dealing with 889, 891, or both?
Both. I'm just looking in our system. The address contains the primary address of 889, but the secondary is 891.
And it looks like a couple or several businesses. When I go down to your page 19, top, LCM, white label home.
Mhm.
I don't know if you can confirm that or not.
Currently, we do have Valor Decorating and Lola Construction in our system.
So different than what's on the sign.
It looks it, yeah. Well, the Valor, there's a Valor truck at the bottom. But yeah, the LCM white label homes, yeah, looks like that's another type of business.
Okay, just moving on then. Let's stay on page 19, top of the page photo. We have a white, I don't know what it is. It's a structure and it's a long structure. It's not a trailer. Do you know what that is? You see what I'm talking about? On the
Yeah,
left hand of
it
the
looks like
photo?
one of those large storage units.
Yeah, but not a 53-foot trailer.
Yeah.
It looks more permanent than that. And you haven't indicated anything here, hey?
No, no, and I see that on page 18 too.
Yeah, the thing
Right.
shows up everywhere.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I have not gone out there to inspect that, so I don't know what that is.
Okay, because I mean that's 200 or 300 square feet.
Mhm.
Okay, just for your attention then, I
Yeah.
won't do anything else with that. And no, I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Whitbread. Ms. Anderson, questions?
No, I think I have no questions, Madam Chair. Thank you.
And thank you for that. And I have no questions either, Ms. Rokigny. So I guess that will conclude item number 5. And now we have heard all items scheduled, and this hearing is now adjourned. So thank you very much, Ms. de Rokigny, for coming today. Nice to
course.
see you as always.
Same with you. Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Have a good day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I will take us offline, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Just a moment, please.